Okay, make a quick blog. I was gonna write some things. I want to say that uh, this book I have read for a very long time, and since my first year of college, and the author has many people who follow his books. Um, his third in the trilogy is about people who have reached out to him, and they're somewhat well known in their field. That was like the basic requirement. So 50 Cent, for one, is not just well known in his field, he's internationally known, he's world famous, completely like more famous than almost anyone. I mean, he has more, I think he's the only artist that ever had 3 songs hit the top 100 from a single album in his first album. Anyways, follow-up album to his first mixtape, right? The Power of the Dollar is his first album, but that was his mixtape, and then he released the one that everybody knows, played in clubs and on the radio a lot. But I am me, David, am his best apprentice or student. But, and although he'll never say this, he'll never admit this on a video, how conceited is it for me to want him to admit this on a video? He never would. And it took me a long time to get over that. So I first reached out to him on MySpace. This was a long, long time ago. This was when I was in college, my first year. He reminded me of one of my professors of history or politics, whatever, in those basic courses I had to take. And he just completely left me on ignored, or read or something, had read the message and never replied. So I had no social credit, right? If the people in the book Mastery have at least a little bit of social credit in whatever field that they're in, Y Combinator founder, at the very least. And there's a lot of people who, like 50 Cent, are very, very, very well known who've reached out to him for a consultant. He's a consultant, right? And we'll never hear about it. And it's out of respect. So these people in Hollywood, whatever the hell that means, really were making movies making fun of me, okay? And that was very hard for me to get a grasp on because out of respect, in a similar way, it's sort of like reading a text message in a crowded room when everybody's talking, and reading a text message is like, oh, that's funny. It's just to me. When I sit in the theater, some certain movies, there's too many to list because it happened before I was even born, believe it or not. And Robert Greene finally has fessed up to who masterminded this book. And it's the Craft of Power book from a high-ranking military officer in the 1950s, wrote a book called The Craft of Power. And this is the follow-up to it. So this is a sequel to a book called The Craft of Power that's in the Index. Penguin books. I'm getting lost in the Index. I am unable to find it because it's sorted by the author. I think his initials start with H. Aesop Fables is very, very good. There's even Aesop's Fables in this book because it's the bibliography. Just don't see it. But anyways, he finally, all this time, on his community channel, I had never signed up for his email list. I should have done that. He's been emailing on a mass email list once a week, books to read. And it's sort of like the bibliography of his first book. And he finally has revealed his email list about maybe like 2 months ago. He started putting it on his YouTube community post page. Robert Greene did, Master Greene, right? And yesterday he had just, my screen's dimming. I gotta touch the screen. He'd fessed up to it. It's like, fess up to it then. Who masterminded this book? We know you're not this smart. Not even a 38-year-old man who wrote this book is just smart enough to write this book. We know you didn't write this, right? And it's so funny because He's read thousands of books, but there's thousands, if not millions, of people who've read thousands of books in the world. They just don't write their own books of their own, you know. But you know, in modern times, we got audiobooks and stuff. Here it is. I found it. The Craft of Power. I'm pointing to it. The Craft of Power. I'm reading it backwards. RGH. They have similar initials. So the Craft of Power is COP, like cop, as in RoboCop. And the character Red from that 70s show is the reason that RoboCop has a cult following, the action movie from the 1980s. And, you know, his character's name is Red in that 70s show. But when he was in RoboCop, it was like Green or something. And there's a lot of like strange reasons why RoboCop is Robert Greene. Because my birthday's on 129, I'm a lot like the 12900 robot that's like made by the company to take out RoboCop, right? And it's kind of funny to think about. I wasn't even born at this point in my life, but in the 1990 movie, after I was born, 2 years after I was born, Time Plus 2, in 1990, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Ford Fairlane's the main character, and he's a rock and roll detective. Like Robert Greene's always saying, he was a private detective, looking for people who had messed up the law number 4, guard your reputation with your own life. People who tried to fake their own deaths to start a new life somewhere else. He was the detective who tried to find out who's trying to weasel out of whatever they're trying to weasel out of, their bad reputation, and to continue their behavior elsewhere. That's the reason that there's people who research that. But the main character of the detective who he's studying is named Bobby Black, and so people should know that another word for Robert is Bobby, right? And black, right, is a color like green. And then, so one of the well-known names in culture is Greenblatt with a TT instead of CK. Instead of Greenblatt, Greenblatt. Okay, so Bobby Greenblatt, right, would be the character's name. And that's only two. Those are only two movies. There's RoboCop, Adventures of Ford Fairlane from 1990. RoboCop is like 1985. But, lots of people have this kind of thing going on. Why is it so quiet down there? Anyways, so I had my first diagnosis of psychosis in early 2009, and by late 2009 there was a music video called Psycho from the band Puddle of Mudd. The first song I learned to play on guitar was Puddle of Mudd's She Hates Me. She F-word hates me. I had seen it on music television, because finally, after all these years, my grandparents had moved here to the local area, and I got to hang out with them, and I got to watch cable. And I was like, I think I was in high school by the time I watched cable for the first time. So yeah, I always thought Nintendo 64 and Nickelodeon were so conceited. It's like, do people not understand? I'm not able to watch music television. I'm not able to play Nintendo 64. No, I'm just making a video blog. I'm okay. I had a good night's sleep, and I took a shower and
You're just talking nonstop.
No, I'm making a journal. I didn't think you were here.
Usually when people make a journal, they don't just talk nonstop like a maniac.
The house is open. There's no wall. And that's how it was designed. I'll go in the other room. I'll record it later, but it was supposed to be quick and done before you got home. Mother. Anyways. Would you like us... Would you like Father and I to go to get some breakfast? Whatever. So I have the document from early 2009 when I was first diagnosed with psychosis, and believe it or not, there's humor in this, because in the book The Game from 2004, when I was still in high school, most people got into it. I mean, celebrities got into the book The Game, of the adventures of pickup artistry and stuff. The field reports online was worse. This stuff has been taken down. Nobody would read this stuff. I mean, who is writing this stuff? Was it a robot? Was it AI writing this stuff? Nobody knows. But if all the ladies joined social media after the pickup community was the first instance of social media and instant messaging and stuff. So if guys are over here talking about what they did sexually with all these girls and then, or all these ladies, right? And then they come online and see and can read about this, it's outrageously ridiculous. I mean, outrageously. So, long story short, at the very end of the book, Mystery is hospitalized from his friends and family. Say, we think you got to go to the hospital because you're crazy. And he does. And he's still practicing pickup artistry inside the psychiatric ward. He's trying to pick up the girls in the psychiatric ward and the nurses and all this stuff. He's still doing the so that's the whole moral of the pickup artistry, is it leads to insanity. And I mean, I guess I knew that, but it was just too late. It was just too late. There's no way out of it, right? It's just a maze. But I've managed to somewhat navigate myself out of the maze of whatever this book is, because the person who masterminded this book, after all, really, it is mysterious, because it's not Robert Greene. It's the guy who wrote The Craft of Power, R.G.H. Wells, whatever. They have the same initials. So long story short, I'll put the references. I'll show the music video for Puddle of Mud Psycho that features Kanye West. This is years before he was publicly known. Lots of people have mental illness, but nobody knows. He's publicly known for being insane. There's nobody who has $1 million who's also known for being insane. There's just that, pick one or the other. And, social credit, I'm in debt. Monetary, financial credit, I'm in debt. Street credit, I got a lot of street credit, okay? They call me. Yeah, I had a joke. I can't remember what it is. You know why they call me Deep Throat? Because blah blah blah. It was. I had a punchline for it. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, but this was just supposed to be like a paragraph or so of a video, and so that's all. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. No. Not going through that right now. Okay.